Hey there, hi there, ho there. Welcome to another episode of Screen Time Continuum. I will say one thing. I really hate the fact that I can't see the intro on StreamYard because I have no clue when we're going to get to the intro page here. So I have to kind of guess. Hey, everybody, we are back. It is a wonderful Friday night. Hope you're doing well. And tonight we're going to be talking about episode 5 and 6 of The Rings of Power. And of course, I am here with the gentleman, as always, Keelan. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm actually trying to figure out when we're gonna send our intro song to a DJ and get that thing remixed because I'll be over here jamming.
Oh yeah, that would be great. I'd love that. If anybody out there is a music producer, maybe you can hook us up. That would be wonderful. And we got Mike. What's going on, man?
Another day, another nickel. You know how I
Oh,
go.
okay. Whew, I thought you were about to say something else. All right,
I
gotcha.
heard it too.
What you thought
Yeah,
I was gonna say?
Nothing.
nothing. All good. I'm glad you said nickel. Um, thank you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Hit that like button, hit that subscription button if you feel so inclined. It would really help us out. Again, we're going to be talking about episode 5 and 6 of Rings of Power. Episode 6 just finished last night. We're going to briefly discuss episode 5 and then jump into episode 6. But before we get into any details and things that we may have liked or disliked, I'm going to kick it over to Keelan for his first impressions. Keelan,
What up?
what did you think about these two episodes?
Well, these two episodes, episode 5, Halls of Stone, and episode 6, Where Is He? I feel like they had good information. They carried on, but it's probably about 30 pages out of a book if they had pre-written material for all of this. So it's kind of filler, but
Mm.
in my opinion, it's important filler if you've been carrying through the entire story. Episodes 5 and 6 story, not sorry, sorry. Sorry story. But episodes 5 and 6, in my opinion, they are kind of the solidifying point that, oh, you guys really want us to watch this. Got it. Good to know. Um, I enjoyed myself watching these much more than anything again in season one. We're going to continue to tear down season one as we make it through this, even through the next two episodes, which are the last two episodes of season two, because at minimum, we are getting a story that we can follow and we're getting some hot points. And we only got that the last two episodes of season one. So it is worth talking about.
Yeah.
Also, I want to say I had a few moments in both of these episodes where I'm wondering, is Muriel and Ellendale about to get it down? Like, what's happening over here? Like,
It would seem so. Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Uh, yeah. Well, Mike, what did you think about episode 5 and 6?
I survived.
You
Hey,
survived the
hey.
two
Yeah,
episodes? All right.
yeah. I mean, look, I don't even remember episode 5 anymore at this point. It was so long ago.
Terrible.
All, all,
If
all I remember was Galadriel got kidnapped by Adar, and
yes.
she proved that she is the greatest warrior to ever live in existence in Middle Earth, and then got captured. And that's what I remember. And then I know the black dude got put in chains.
I think that was episode 4.
Was that
Yeah,
episode 4?
that was episode
Yeah.
four.
So you really
Yeah,
don't
I think
remember
that
episode
just
5.
I think that was really just stuck in my memory banks for some reason. I
Yeah.
don't know why that would be, but it was.
Well, I think it was a part of our last conversation. So yeah, that would make sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
I to be honest with you, I don't remember much of episode 5 as well. Like Keelan said, it is very much filler. These two episodes, it is important filler to sort of move the story across. But I
right.
also feel like there's a bit of treading water here.
Let me. You know what? Since we are talking about it, let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys watch any of the after the show stuff that they do?
I do.
Never.
Like where they talk to the cast and the crew and the director and such. You guys watch any of that?
Yeah, I typically do. Because it comes on directly after it cuts off the credits, and usually I'm still jotting down a couple of notes. So I want to say usually I get at least halfway through it, and it's only like 5 minutes, 7 minutes.
Right,
Um,
right.
but most of them I think I've completed. Maybe one or two I've cut halfway through.
I just
Yeah.
I watched for the first time the one after episode 6 today, and it kind of shook me a bit. I just wanted to, I was just
You were
wondering if you guys
shooken.
watched any of it.
Yeah, why did it shake you?
Uh, I don't know if I should talk about it on air.
Oh
Oh,
no. Sensitive subjects. How could that
okay.
be?
Well, you guys know my proclivities, especially as of lately, and it just made me draw some parallels to real, excuse me, to real life and really what I've been thinking about lately and what's been happening in the world and such. And I just thought the music composer that they're using, some of his language and even his whole look
Mhm.
just kind of threw me off.
Ah,
Mm.
a little bit too much modern day, huh?
Well, no,
I get.
no, I
I know
wouldn't
where
call it
Mike's going.
modern day. I'd call it ancient.
No,
Oh,
I know
okay.
where Mike's going. I know where Mike's going.
Yeah, I figured
His
you would.
verbiage, his verbiage was definitely, and I'll say it on air. I don't care. His verbiage made me think of someone who was trying to utilize his art form and or his talent to kind of dissuade, persuade, and or brainwash you in different ways.
It
Um,
was
Hmm.
Faustian. How about that?
that's a great yes. It
Ah,
was
okay.
Faustian. However, I think that is kind of necessary when you are working with either timepieces or fantasy pieces to have someone who
Looks like that.
kind of comes off like a wizard in a sense when it comes to their love for their art.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, this is why I
Okay,
don't watch
you
these
might be right.
yeah, that's why I don't watch the commentaries at the end because I feel like it just ruins everything for me.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
I
yeah,
I'd
it
say
probably
this.
does because it definitely gave me this female empowerment vibe on top of some of the other biblical stuff that I've been kind of paying attention to lately, and it kind of
mhm.
meshed together, and it gave me an impression that I didn't really care for, but I couldn't
Yeah.
deny either.
But I'll also say that different parts of this show, especially in season two, are very parallel to certain stories that are religious. Um, i.e., we could just say that Sauron is the greater evil in everything, every lore, every religion. So I
Well, that's
understand exactly what you
absolutely a
mean.
fact. That's
Right,
not
right.
even for contention there.
But I'm just saying, when you have that one thing right there, then it kind of becomes kind of easy to start to correlate it with other things. When you have one that's so obvious, you start to look for those undertones in other areas. Um, Also, to the composer, the guy who did all the music, I'd even say this: you need someone who's that level of nerd. And I hate, I don't mean it in a derogatory or in a bad way, but you just need somebody who is that level of different from the average person doing things like this. Because I'm sorry, would you rather Dr. Dre do the score or the guy that did it? Like, see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Quincy, except Quincy Jones.
what's P Diddy up to? Maybe he's got some time.
Wow, you did that.
He's definitely got some
He's
time.
definitely got some. Yeah, he's definitely got some time, but
Oh,
not the kind of time you talking about.
the entendre. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, well, let's see. Is there anything that I could add to my first impressions that you guys haven't already covered? Probably not. I think that you guys are right. It's, there, Keelan said that there's a necessary element of filler, and I think that that's true. You need to sort of fill things out and paint a story, and sometimes that takes time. On the other hand, I did feel like this was treading water a little bit, and they're almost sort of stalling for time for the last two episodes to reach some sort of climax. And I think we see that at the end of episode 6, with the beginning of the sacking of Eregion. But yeah, episode 5 to me is sort of like nothing. We didn't even get Tom Bombadil in episode 5. That was episode 4, right?
Episode
Yes, it was.
4.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because
the
did we
eldest.
get Bombadil?
No, we didn't
I
because
feel
they
like no.
skipped.
I feel like there was a small discussion with Bombadil, but nothing large. In either of these episodes, I know neither Tom The Stranger, Nori, any of them were on the screen no longer than 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. They've definitely sort of taken a back seat, which is I don't necessarily mind. I do kind of mind the Stranger storyline taking so long to reach its conclusion, and I think they're trying to do that because they still want to leave this ambiguity about who the stranger is and whether it's Gandalf or a blue wizard or whatever. Although I
Right.
will say in episode 6 we got a whole bunch more red herring Easter eggs that it is Gandalf, because in the conversation with Tom Bombadil, he says he has the line about who should decide. Some people who deserve to live die, and others who deserve to die live. Who are you to decide? And that's the exact line that Gandalf gives Frodo while they're in the caves of Moria in Lord of the Rings. So I think they're really trying to make you think that it's Gandalf. I'm still skeptical. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for it to be him, but then again, I wouldn't put it past Amazon to sort of screw that up. And
Well,
you
who
know,
else would it be? Because I mean, to be fair, they've messed up the timeline completely anyway.
well, see,
The
the thing is
timeline's
for me,
completely
yeah,
the actual because okay, I mean, I'm not an expert by any means, but I know that some of the characters they're using are characters out of their ages. They're using
yes,
different people for different ages to make this story to kind of make it work. And they're
hmm
creating characters who never existed in the Tolkien lore as a whole. So to
yeah.
say that he's not Gandalf at this point is kind of like just being in denial.
Mhm.
I agree with you to an extent, but I don't. I still there's still a part of me that thinks that this is supposed to be a clever twist that will get revealed in the future. Because if you are going to go by the lore, the blue wizards went to Middle Earth first. They disappeared and were never heard of again, and that's when Sauron and Radagast and Gandalf come to Middle Earth. So if they're trying to make the stranger Gandalf, I think that they're going to face a issue with the Tolkien estate. So I think that they're just trying to drop little,
Well,
um,
you know
red.
the Tolkien estate is a part of this.
No, I know, but they're allowed to use the first age and not the second age. And Gandalf, of course, is comes after the blue wizards. It wouldn't make sense for the dark wizard that's in Rune right now to be Sauron, even though they make him look like a young Sauron. Sauron the White is supposed to be good until he's turned
Initially,
evil.
right.
Yes. So he's not, that's not Sauron. That has to be a blue wizard. And so that makes me think the stranger is also a blue wizard
Hmm.
because they're
So
just
it's like you're
trying to
saying the
make you think.
precursor to them.
Yeah, they're trying to make you think that it's Gandalf so that they can do a switcheroo at some point and say, "Oh, my name is blah blah blah," whatever the two blue wizards' names are, because we don't know his name yet, and I think that they're going to reveal his name at some point, and it's not going to be Gandalf. It's going to be whatever the one of the blue wizards' names is, because
So it's
in the
not
lore they
Tolkien,
say
it's Tolkien.
it's not Tolkien. Yes, in the books they say that the blue wizards go east and they're never seen of again. So it's quite possible that this dark wizard and the stranger are the blue wizards that disappear from Middle Earth. So,
So
and
we're
that would
looking
be
at
a lot
a
cleaner.
so basically we're looking at one of those whatchamacallits, M. Night Shyamalan twists.
Yeah, I think it would be much cleaner for them to do it that way. Although, again, I'm not going to put it past them that they are
Because they
trying to
can't use
tease
Peter
that it's
Jackson
Gandalf.
stuff, technically.
No, no. No, and I think that there are certain copyright issues with certain names, and Gandalf might be one of those names. So he might even not even be named Gandalf at one point. They might do like, Mithandriel or Stormcrow or something like that. If they want to make it Gandalf.
Right. Oh man.
Yeah. So I don't know. They're just so heavy handed with this, like suggesting that it is Gandalf that I just don't. If I was a good writer, I would say, okay, you're trying to bait me into thinking it's Gandalf. But,
Let's
maybe,
be fair. If you were a good
yeah.
writer, you wouldn't be a part of this project.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Or maybe I wouldn't write it this way.
I'm about to say, I don't know about that. It's all about how much that check you need, because I'm pretty sure these are
That's
some sizable
true.
payouts.
That's true. $500 million is quite a
Well,
bit of money.
well, if that was the case, then they'd have better content.
I don't know about
Yeah.
that.
I think
Oh,
season 2 is a pretty good step up from season 1, if I'm being honest.
that's a low step to have to raise up from, though.
It definitely is. It definitely is. I'm not going to deny that. Although I will say I do appreciate that Disa now has a beard. But she's got
A little bit of scuffling. A little bit
look at the
scruffling.
back our background right now. She's got mutton chops.
Yeah, she has a little bit of scruffling.
Yeah.
And she, I've seen it in the show. I noticed it too.
Yeah. She's got
After
like
you guys
wispy
said what you
mutton
said.
chops.
Yeah, after you guys made it clear that even the female dwarves are supposed to have beard.
They're supposed to have full on beards.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, they didn't want to do
They
that
had to
to
leave
her,
it
I don't
somewhat
think.
appealing.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not supposed to be appealing to us. It's supposed to be appealing to dwarves.
You're
Yeah,
right. Who?
right.
You're right. Who, man?
I'm just saying.
That's true. That's true.
But maybe she really.
yeah.
Maybe that's just a shadow, Nick. Maybe that's what.
Hey,
Oh,
elves
yes,
are supposed to be attractive to us.
Are they now?
Well,
And look
I
what
don't
we
know.
got.
Hey, she could go. Never mind.
I'm not taking nothing against her. Nothing from guy like shit.
Mike wants to see what the female Uruks look like.
No, I don't.
Yeah, we did
Actually,
see
they
one
already
with the
showed
baby.
them.
Yeah.
Right.
An Uruk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that? Episode 2 or 3 where they had had them in the crowd.
Yep. Yeah, there was one of the orcs was talking to Adar about how they really need to fight, and he's like, yes, we do. And then Adar leaves, and he goes up to his wife, who has a little goblin baby or whatever,
which is so crazy because are orcs even born?
Yeah,
aren't they created?
So no, the Urukai are created, but the orcs are supposed to be born naturally. So I guess there are lady orcs. Yeah.
I'd rather have the World of Warcraft orcs situation than if that's the case.
Yeah, they don't look as grotesque. That's for sure.
Yeah.
These orcs are disgusting looking.
Disgusting.
They look like they wallow in poop.
They do. Yeah. They're always slimy looking too.
And dirty.
I don't know what that's about. Yeah.
Right. It's like you don't even clean in the rain, bro.
No.
Man. you make the air dirty.
Right.
Why is everybody so dirty in this show, man?
This whole show.
I'll tell you.
Well,
whole
I mean,
period.
To be fair, it was only in the 1700s when people was walking around stepping in poop, and that's where high heels came in.
That's true. Everybody was throwing their poop out the window.
Right. So I mean,
splatting you in the face on your morning paper route, huh?
Well, that's where umbrellas come in.
Yep.
That was why umbrellas were invented. Not it wasn't for the rain.
Also, why it was customary to have the woman walk on the inside of the sidewalk and not the outside.
Because that's where the poop was.
Yeah. So she could so she could get the poop dropped on her.
She could dodge the poop because they would fling their buckets out the windows and it would end up in the gutter.
So the angle of it, got it.
Yeah.
And then the high heels were to keep their feet from actually touching the poop. And
meanwhile, 2,000 years ago. Meanwhile, 2,000 years ago, many civilizations had indoor plumbing and aqueducts. So I have no idea what happened.
And now the poop, where's the heels?
Yeah.
Society regressed the further you got away from the major.
Yeah, it's true.
Time frames. I don't know.
Maybe.
Rome had aqueducts and indoor plumbing, and then we get to the Wild West, and it's just a free for all.
Yeah, people are pooping in holes. Yeah.
Jeez.
Getting fucking diphtheria and shit. Typhus.
Hepatitis.
Yeah. Cholera. There you go.
Bad cases of pink eye.
Yeah. Ooh,
that's how you get pink eye. That's for sure how you get pink eye.
Man,
All right, Keelan.
this show has degenerated so bad. We talking about ancient poop and pink eye.
I mean, hey, what's up, Nick? What was your question?
Well, that's what happens when you don't have very much action in the episodes. We just go get sidetracked and talk about other stuff.
Easily.
That's okay. Very easily. Very easily. Keelan, could you give us like a couple bullet points for episode 5? Because
Yeah.
neither Mike or I remember anyways. So
No worries. So we got a couple of strong points. Nothing in my opinion that was too crazy, but some strong points. We have the foundation wall that King Durin decided to accent to himself, and he reveals a couple of sun holes, or he creates some light holes
Oh
in
yeah.
the mountain.
yes.
And
Right.
then you have a little bit after that where Disa buys a crystal ball. She loses it into a cavern, only for us to see that
Right.
she has discovered some critically ancient evil down there, but the king is
Wait a
ignoring that.
minute. Let's talk
Yeah.
about that for a second, because that was
Sure.
I remember that being stupid.
I
So-
thought that was actually
Well,
pretty
she
cool,
wanted
considering what
her
her
Wait a
crystal
minute,
ball.
no, hold up, because she buys the crystal ball thing, or it was called a plinth, is what it
I
looked
forget.
like.
I
It was
with the-
supposed to be a tuning crystal, apparently. I don't know.
But it looks like the one that the Numenorians use, the
Yes.
Eye of Sauron, one of those joints from
like a palantir.
There you go. That's the word
Yeah.
I was looking for.
Mm.
So she drops it. It rolls around the corner from a major stall in a shop in the marketplace, and
Yep.
nobody's ever discovered that little area right there.
Yeah, a little alcove with
Right.
a pond or whatever. Yeah, no,
Right.
apparently not.
And there's an ancient evil in there.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me that her little crystal or whatever rolled right in the exact spot where this thing is, and nobody's discovered, right next to a major market?
Well, it
Nobody's
does-
seen this little alcove before.
Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems as if people only venture into the caverns that they're allowed.
It could have been something where like that's a new cavern they dug in to get the
That too.
mithril.
Yeah, that too.
They made
You
it. I remember distinctly that they had made it seem like this was some new undiscovered cavern that she found, and that's
Right.
why it was so important.
Yeah, well, they're teasing. So they're teasing the Balrog. Yeah, Durin's Bane. So I think that's where they're going with this. And even in episode 6, when we see Sauron go to Khazad-dûm and ask for more mithril, when he's denied, he looks at the flame and he sees a flash of the Balrog. So the deeper they dig, the more the Balrog will start to manifest.
Right.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. 'Cause I was wondering what that was about. I was like, does he control that, or
I
like that
thought that was
ancient evil
obvious.
thing? So I personally think that Disa's ability as a stone singer is not as understood, or at least it hasn't been as explained as it should have been by this point, because clearly they have deeper abilities than just finding the weak walls and the caverns to dig into. They can communicate with animals. They can detect ancient evils, and even it
I
seems
think
as if,
I think it's a lot like echolocation.
yeah, that's what I'm kind of
So
gathering.
so that's probably why she was able to summon the bats.
That's what I was
Because
thinking too. To be
They
fair,
work on that. Yeah.
She has
And then
sonar in
that's
her
why
throat.
Yeah, and that's why she can sense the ancient evil, because she probably sees something big below them that isn't resonating the same way the mountain would or whatever.
Right. And remember how it affected the water and kind of sent a shockwave at her.
Yeah.
yeah, it did the whole Jurassic Park thing.
It did.
It did,
That's
yeah.
that's funny. That's exactly what that was.
I mean, what's that?
Silly. Let's see. They have the west gate into Eregion. So there's a new gate that leads to Eregion from the mountain where the dwarves are. That I thought that was interesting, especially seeing as how it's technically a hidden gate that only certain people can access.
Oh yeah,
I'm-
that's the gate from
Speak friend.
Yeah, speak friend and enter. Yeah.
Which is
that's
weird
the gate
to
from
me.
Lord of the Rings.
Got it. But that's weird because clearly Sauron is one of the people allowed.
Well, if you know the word,
Yeah, if you know the
Well, I'm sure
password,
he
you can
does.
get in. Yeah. he probably helped fashion it because it's made of mithril.
Mhm.
And so it's only visible in the moonlight, and it's supposed to be the entrance to Moria.
Right.
But I guess Moria and Cosmic Doom are connected, I guess. So,
I think
you know,
they're trying to develop some kind of connections to the Peter Jackson stuff without making a direct connection.
yeah,
So
that's definitely the case.
it's probably just a like a plot point or a
Easter egg.
device.
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that.
for sure. For
Okay.
sure.
Let's see a little more on episode 5. Um, Sauron or Anatar and Celebrimbor kind of have a back and forth where Sauron is now trying to convince Celebrimbor to create the 9 rings of men. Celebrimbor refuses to help the men, but after uh, Prince Durin comes and he Prince Durin comes and he essentially lets it be known, he don't trust the rings. He feels like his dad's becoming greedy. He goes and he kind of tries to find favor with Celebrimbor, who does hear him out, but that causes Celebrimbor to go back, have a discussion with Sauron, excuse me, Anatar,
It's okay to say
about,
Sauron.
I know,
Mhm.
about the influence that's put into the rings. And he tells him straight up, like, oh, I didn't do anything. We did. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
because of your basically his emotions and his influence into the rings as well.
You use deception when you pitch the whole thing to your king.
You
So
lied to your king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You lied to the king.
And I'm
Yeah.
sitting there like, you mean when you put that battery in his back to lie to his king? Like, hold
Oh, yeah.
on.
okay,
Accountability.
okay,
What?
Satan. I mean
Yeah.
Sauron.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, right now it just sounds like he's anybody dating in 2024. Like, where's the accountability?
Man, man.
The gaslighting.
Straight gaslighting.
Yep.
Um, at that point, everybody kind of loses their shit. What you have, what is her name? Meandria? Mirandia? But the one who tried
Merdania.
on Merdania, thank you. She
Oh,
tries
right,
on the
right, right.
ring. She goes invisible. It seems like she saw the Balrog. Is that what you guys called it? The Balrog?
No, she saw Sauron in his true form.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah. But then he
that's
convinces
crazy.
her that it was Celebrimbor and not him.
And not
right.
him,
Yeah.
which is weird because, huh?
Because you're not supposed to believe your lying eyes when you're dealing with Sauron.
Sauron.
Like how you did that.
Yeah.
Sauron.
Because I mean, like I said before, I'm drawing those parallels that I don't need to
Yeah,
really
no,
be
it's
drawing,
there.
but I am, and I can't help it.
Yeah,
Well, no,
no,
I
but it's
mean
there.
Tolkien made the story to draw those parallels.
I know
Like,
he did,
yeah.
but see, my issue is more in the fact that they're trying to they're creating a whole new story, and they're changing the initial story and narrative, and they're trying to make evil sympathetic to a degree as well.
Yeah,
And
that's
I don't like
the
that.
Disney effect. Yeah.
Right. And
I don't
I
like
think
that.
Disney might be more on the sinister side of things than they are now than they ever were in history, because we know about their we know their history to a degree, but
Yeah.
now it seems like they're getting even worse, and it's more subtle, and people are deceived by it to a huge degree. So
Yeah. No, I mean, I understand. If we wanted to have a conversation about the psychological effects of movies and TV, then that would be,
that yeah,
we could
yeah.
go a long time with that. That's for sure.
But then we'd have to talk about the CIA too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And we
I don't feel
already,
like being flagged again.
I really want to get some more followers before we start diving into that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. So what else do we have? We have Earin, and she's a straight whore. At
Who?
least from a philosophical level. Elendil's daughter.
Elendil?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Numenor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's been given power. She's out there stripping people of their title and all of that.
Yeah, Jezebel.
Right. Uh, her father ends up basically stripped, but although he's still given his respect, Farzan's son is a douchebag. Farazan is now a philosophical leader, and all of a sudden he has all of this extreme knowledge of the future, even though he knew jack shit last week. Literally, the episode
Well, he,
4.
well, he is a usurper of the throne. His son is a piece of crap who's let the power go to his head already. It only took a
Well,
week's difference.
the power. His son was already a dickhead before he
Yeah.
got the power. He was already kind of stirring shit. Um, so we could actually
Well,
really
he's
talk about that really quick.
Farazan's also using the Palantir. So
Yes,
Right.
he's also using the
Yeah.
Palantir, but of course we can't talk about. Nobody else is supposed to know that because he knows and he already knew that that's what everybody. That's what the history and the lineage has always done.
Yeah.
So within that, Elendil is stripped of his title. Valendil backs him. Everybody else still backs him. They go to a visual, like a candlelight
Vigil.
vigil, excuse me, where they're paying respects to the fallen. One of those fallen being no, not Valendil. What is
It's
his name?
Endor.
It's Isildur. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Um, that causes Kemen and all of his men to come in, and they shut down the shrine because they're gonna turn it into a piece of the aqueduct, and it's gonna be destroyed. However, Elendil fights back after one of the prayer rooms is destroyed by Kemen. He punches Kemen. They get into a little scuffle. Valendil steps up. He helps out. He ends up breaking Kemen's arm, and before he kills him, Elendil, the upstanding gentleman that he is, tells Valendil not to kill him. Well, sorry that he did
That
that
was
because
some.
now we lost a goat.
That was
That's some
some
bullshit.
real. Man, that was
'Cause we
some
lost
whole shit.
We lost a real likable
Yeah.
character. I really liked Valendil as a character. I did.
I didn't care
did.
nothing about him, but I thought what happened was some real whole shit.
I mean, it
It
wasn't
really
Hoshi,
was.
but I actually liked him as a character. I was expecting he and Isildur to be reunited much later when they get back to Middle Earth, or
Oh
when
yeah.
Isildur comes back to Numenor, and him to rule like beside him as his right hand man. I was waiting for that to actually come full circle.
You know who he
But
reminds me of?
No.
Not what's his name?
the guy from Hamilton.
The princess guy. He reminds me of the guy from Rohan. I can't think of his name. The Peter
In Lord of the
Jackson
Rings?
movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Carl Urban.
No, not him.
Grima Wormtongue.
Yeah, the little sniveling guy who was
Yeah.
whispering in the King of Rohan's ear the whole time.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
who he
ain't Carl
remind me
Urban
of.
the dude in The Boys?
Carl Urban is.
Yeah. Carl Urban's in The Boys, but he was also in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Mhm.
You didn't know?
I told
Yeah.
y'all I didn't watch this mess like that. Y'all be thinking I'm joking.
That dude's
Man,
been
how
in a
you ain't
lot of
watch
stuff.
Lord of the Rings, bro?
I know.
You said what?
For real.
How you ain't watch Lord of the Rings, bro?
I didn't say I didn't watch it. I said I wasn't super into it. I'd be,
Oh, I
I've
thought you said
seen
you didn't
most of
watch it.
Yeah, no,
Man,
I wasn't like I didn't like go out of my way and sit and watch it, but I have seen the majority of it.
me, nephew, and Javon used to go purposely to watch those in theater.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
That was our thing.
Yeah.
We watched all those movies in theater.
I just finished the extended trilogy.
How did you pull that off?
A couple days ago.
Jesus Christ. Was it
It's
like
great,
8 hours
man.
worth of extra content?
Each movie's about 4 hours long. Yeah. So you got like 12 hours of watching. And they're all great. I love the extended version. It gives a whole lot more color to everything.
Really?
It really
Dang.
does. Yeah. Yeah.
Now you're going to make me have to look into it. Is it online?
Yeah, you got to
Is it
watch them.
streaming?
Yeah. You can watch them on Max. They have the
Oh, okay.
extended versions. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yep. That's where you find out Aragorn is actually 87 years old.
Oh, they actually talk about that.
Yeah. They talk about how he's a Dunedain.
Oh, okay.
Yep. See, they get deep into lore in the extended version, which is great.
Keelan's like, what?
Yeah.
I was having a little bit of technical issue over here, but it cleared up really fast. So I missed a portion of what y'all said, but I gathered that I didn't know nothing about it. No way.
It's some nerd shit. Don't worry about it.
Right.
It's cool. Yeah.
Very nerd shit.
Well, fellers.
All right. Well, the 6th episode opens with Don Lemonless.
Hold on. Before we get to Don Lemons, I'm trying to think because there is. I feel like there was one more thing. I know King Durin and his riches. He kind of held everybody captive because he wants them to bring him more jewels. He's on a gold conquest. Numenor. The no wait. I think this might have been episode 4 where the Hawk comes.
You mean the eagle?
Yeah, the eagle. Excuse me.
That
How
was like
dare
episode
you?
3.
Was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was at the end of episode 3 when he decided to take the Numenorian throne because it appeared as if it was for him, but clearly it wasn't about him.
No. Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's why, again, that's why I call shenanigans on that whole coup. It's like clearly that had nothing to do with him, but they made it seem like it had to do with him for him to take the throne. It's like, come on, man. That didn't even
Yeah,
look like it had anything to do with him. They didn't even frame that right if that was the case.
Well, and then
Fair
in
enough.
what happens in episode 6 is like, okay, well, now everybody knows that Farazan's not the king.
Right.
Clearly.
Because
With his
Muriel,
trifling ass.
yeah, Muriel doesn't get eaten by the sea monster. So,
Right. Very clearly.
yeah.
Oh, and okay, the two things that I wanted to say before we move to episode 6. Celebrimbor decides after some convincing from Sauron to go forth with the 9 rings of men. Because they must now balance out the 3 and the 7, because there's so much evil that went into those that now he has to justify his wrongs, as well as Galadriel decides to fight the orcs by herself. She's captured, and Adar lets her know that she has been captured not as an enemy, but as a potential ally, because he needs her to stop Sauron so they can
Yeah.
join forces.
Because that makes
Yeah.
sense.
That makes no sense
Yeah.
at all. Actually, okay, no, I'll say this. When it happened in episode 5, it made no sense. Once we get kind of through episode 6, it makes a little more sense
Does
based
it?
on the discussions they have. Yeah, in my opinion.
Well, the enemy of my enemy. Yeah.
Is your enemy. Is our enemy. Yeah.
Which makes no sense because is there any history of the orcs ever turning against Sauron?
I don't really know how Sauron gets his army of orcs, but this is how they're going to explain it. So,
Yeah. I mean, at the beginning of this whole season, the way they break it down, or at least the beginning of episode, yeah, basically the beginning of the season, the orcs are the ones that are trying to kill him. So,
right.
Yeah. But it's clear in episode 6 that something's going to happen with the sacking of Eregion, and Sauron is going to get the army of orcs. So,
yep.
Yeah, so it was all a plan for Sauron to get his orc army by having Adar attack Eregion.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
I guess
you were saying about Don Limitless?
Yeah, Don Limitless gets about 15 seconds of screen time in this episode where he does a couple flippy flips and kills 3 orcs, and then that's about it.
That was a lot of work to kill 3 orcs.
He finds a random scroll piece of gunk on a folded piece of whatever that is.
It's supposed to be a drawing of Eregion, but I'm like, okay, well, it's not a map. It doesn't help.
It's not even a map. That's the crazy part.
The whole point of that scene is unclear.
The whole point of that scene is contractually he didn't get enough screen time, so they had to add it.
They're trying to figure out how to keep him relevant.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I think
bring
that
back Theo.
They just, oh no, please don't. I think they just need to remind you that he's there and that he is on the hunt for Adar. So he's going to show up at Eregion. Yeah, he's going to show up at Eregion and probably fight.
He's going to rescue Galadriel.
He's about to Arya Stark this shit.
Yes, he is. He's going to jump out of nowhere and stab Adar in the heart right before he kills Sauron. Oh, that would be actually pretty good, to be honest. If it was Don Lemonless, Adar's about to kill Sauron, and then Don Lemonless kills Adar. That would be interesting. And then Sauron kills Don Lemonless.
That'd be crazy.
There we go. That's the finale right there.
And Galadriel dies too, because I need that. I need
She'll
that
live.
to happen
She'll
for
just be
some
in shock.
reason. I don't know why. I just need that to happen.
Maybe they'll just what could they do to Galadriel to put her out of the game for the whole season next season?
Man. Oh, something else. I didn't see this in my notes, but I did just think the other thing that we left out about episode 5 is that is kind of the precipice of Celebrimbor not just losing his shit, but losing his way with his own people. Because Sauron's weaved his
Yeah.
way into a leadership position.
Yeah, and Celebrimbor has been corrupted by the whole process and his vanity and hubris and all of that stuff. So
Right. That's how
Yeah.
Sauron gets you.
yeah, that's how it happens.
Sauron.
Yeah.
Right.
That
That
all right.
actually was kind of a slip, though.
No, I mean, they're analogs for each other.
Yeah.
It makes sense. So in episode 6, not much changes. It's Celebrimbor is still trying to forge the 9 rings, but they are running out of mithril, and each time they try to forge one, it's not working. They can't figure out the right mixture between, I guess, silver and mithril or whatever in order to create the rings. So he's starting to slip further into madness as he gets frustrated. And this is where Sauron kind of decides that he's going to convince Celebrimbor to sort of dismiss everybody so that he can lock himself in the tower and work and focus on his task, which
Right.
also helps with what happens later, because Celebrimbor is not aware that the city is being attacked.
Yeah, that's under siege. Well, because Sauron not only has convinced him that his work is more important, and he now believes that, Sauron's getting more powerful. So now he can cast whatever images in your brain that he wants you to see versus you
Illusion
actually-
spells,
yeah.
apparently.
Man,
Yeah.
this episode must have really been just ass because we just skipped all the way to the end.
No.
Well,
I
it's
think
part
it's
of it.
important. Yeah, I think it's
I
important
know,
just
but
when
we
we're talking about the
skipped
whole.
all the other stuff and went right to that.
No, we're
I
gonna
was
get to that.
I was just
but I'm
going to go
saying,
storyline by storyline, and that's
Right.
sort of what Celebrimbor gets
Gotcha.
up to this episode. Yeah,
because that's where it starts. It starts right at Celebrimbor losing it,
yeah,
showing that he's tired and overworked, and it didn't. That all kind of ties in together. They spread it out, but realistically, that's all one storyline.
Right. Now I get that.
yeah.
And
And
even
it's really only about 10 minutes of actual story. You know what I mean? Because
in
they
episode
bounce
6,
through. Yeah, they bounce through so many storylines that you're really only getting about 10 to 15 minutes of each storyline.
Yeah, episode 6 felt like the shortest episode thus far.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
necessarily feel that long. That's for
So,
sure.
like you said, it was filler.
It
Yeah.
was filler.
We
Yeah.
we saw Harfoot kiss.
Ew, that was gross. I felt weird. You know why?
Yeah.
Because
they're children.
yeah, that's exactly right. Why is it Poppy looks like she's like 13 years old? What the hell?
Right.
Well, technically, they are children, aren't they?
I thought
The,
so.
the actors and the characters.
I don't know how
I have
old they
no
are in real
clue.
life. I'm just talking about in the show.
Well,
Technically, though, any halfling that's under 50 is a child.
right.
So,
But I mean,
Mm.
aren't they? Yeah, because they treat them like they're really like little kids throughout the
Yeah.
entire thing. Like they're little kids, not like they're an adult kid. It's not like Frodo. Because at least with Frodo, you got the impression that he was probably an adult, even though he's still considered to be a little kid in their eyes. You still get the
Frodo is-
impression that Frodo was an adult.
yeah, Frodo is under 50.
Right.
Which in Hobbits is considered a kid still.
Right,
50 is the new
but you
18,
still
guys.
get the impression that he's like probably 19, 20, maybe even 25,
He's
somewhere
in his
around
he's
there.
in his 30s. Yeah.
Right. You
Mhm.
get the impression he's an adult still, even
Yes,
though he's still
yeah.
considered a child to them. Whereas
Right.
these, you're definitely looking at little kids.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't get the impression that these are just little adults. You
Right.
definitely feel like these are little kids, and even if I think the actors are probably like adolescent teenagers or something like that. I don't know. They're probably like
Yeah.
13, 14-year-olds, and then you got them kissing on screen with each other, and it's like,
Yeah.
Well, that guy that plays Merrimack is definitely not a child.
probably not. You mean nobody? Or
Yeah,
what?
nobody. His name
what-
is Mary Mac.
His man, yeah, nobody or Merrimack, I think both work.
Mary Mac is a doper name. I'm sorry, that's a tight name.
Could be a Mac.
Mary
Yeah.
Mac.
Well, see, I wasn't even gonna go there. I was thinking he was a Mac Daddy, but whatever.
Yeah.
Miggity. He's the miggity Mac Daddy.
Man, or a pimp,
Miggity Mac.
a pimp named Mary Mac.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
No,
Oh,
you
man.
got to say the whole thing. A pimp named Mary Mac.
Like a Tribe Called Quest.
Yes.
Man. But so Anatar is left to be in charge and to do all the ruling in Eregion, in which case he has brung a dead soldier with something inscribed into his chest, which he says translates to "Where is he?" And at first, when I first heard him say, I'm like,
scene.
"Where is who?" And I was like, "Oh,
Right. That's why I thought that was a stupid scene, because the way they phrased it was more like he was just saying something and walking off instead of being specific on what they were talking about. And it seemed too ambiguous, and it just kind of took away from the gravity of what they were trying to express.
What was he supposed to explain to old girl that, hey, they looking for Sauron? I don't know who that is.
She said, what did the message say? He just said, where is he? As he's walking off.
Yeah.
It just seemed, it seemed too ambiguous for it to be a situation that was so specific.
I get it. I feel like it was
and it doesn't raise any alarm with her or anything, which is kind of weird. Yeah.
Right. And it seems like everybody's so simple-minded. For them to be so
the elves are very
geniuses.
Well,
the elves are very dumb. That's for sure.
Right. And except for those that are in higher positions. And that's what I was going to say. Is like, my question would be, what is she supposed to take from it, even if Celebrimbor had been the one who told her what he said? Like,
why would we hide this from our real leader?
She's essentially a mill worker.
I can't give that to them, because elves aren't supposed to be stupid.
I get you.
Yeah,
but
that is true.
They don't have no unions.
Elves are not supposed. Right.
You do have to think that most of these elves are also like 1,000 years old.
Right. These are not like.
Fair. Okay, got you.
She's not exactly supposed to be this 20-year-old glassy-eyed intern who's being molested by the boss because she don't know no better. This is an old woman in comparison. These are 1,000-year-old people.
Well, but they also are under the impression that they're in the presence of a deity.
That is true too. They do think that they're in the presence of a Valar. So I guess after 1,000 years, you forget how the Valar are. Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
You go to saying yes, sir, no, sir.
No, we didn't see nobody else in chains. Except Galadriel.
We saw a couple of people. Yeah, so we saw some chains.
No, that was episode 4. Come on.
Yeah, you right.
I can't let it go.
That was the best. It was so funny. Oh my gosh.
Was it funny though? Or was it
funny? I mean, it's funny because of like what a stereotype it is.
The irony of how they didn't realize what they were doing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, do you think they did? Do you think they were like, oh, that would be like, oh yeah, we're gonna make sure that we kill the black guy first, and then make sure it's by chains?
Yeah, I think they had to do something for the American audience.
But first, he was
first.
That's what I'm saying. I think they needed to add something for the American audience.
Ah, I see. Yes.
The horror movie aspect of it.
Yeah, that's exactly why I thought it was so like, it's so obvious. You would think to yourself like, okay, all of these companies have like DEI teams and fucking, like all of these like stupid bureaucracies that look out for this type of stuff. And you mean to tell me that none of those people were like, hey, maybe don't kill the black elf first, and then maybe don't kill him with chains.
Right.
Like,
don't drag him off with chains.
Yeah.
In chains.
In chains.
It's like, come on, man. Come on, dog. Come on, man.
Come on, Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Oh shit.
Where Boosie when you need him?
No, leave
Man,
the
we
kids
look.
alone,
The,
man.
I can't tell you where he at. He just defending the current music person that's in some other shit right now. But
He's just
Which
studying
one? There's so
economy.
many.
That's all.
that
Right.
one. Uh, so we also have Udar. Sorry, we have Adar the Uruk and Galadriel, and they're discussing
That
how
drives me
Sauron's
crazy.
influence. Right. How Sauron. Well, it drives me crazy that she says Adar, and it sounds like she's saying Adan.
Yeah, because
That
she has
drives me
a okay.
nuts.
Again, I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and I'm just going to clip this as a segment for so that we can have something to add to our channel in the future. It drives me crazy that the elves all speak in non-rhotic British accents. That means that you don't pronounce the R's. But then when they when they use elf names, they all roll their R's for some reason. It's linguistically inconsistent. It makes no sense to me. Why does Galadriel say something like hearth instead of hearth, but she doesn't say hearth? Like, but she'll say Sauron. You don't you if you don't pronounce your R's linguistically, you're not going to roll them in any other like way. That just doesn't make any sense. It drives me nuts every time I hear it. Peter Jackson's movies never did this. I don't know why they wanted to spice up the elven language like that. Like it's, Spanish or something.
They had to make it digestible.
Like I'm hearing castanets every time they say Sauron. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. What is going on?
It's a choice, that's for sure. And I feel you. It's super inconsistent and it gets annoying, but it's fun to talk about.
It is fun to talk about.
But Adar and Galadriel have this discussion about Sauron's influence and all the promises he's made. They both realize that they've received their promises, and Adar tells her it is not his promises and his lies that need to be destroyed. It is him himself. And then he also tells her that he is the one who slayed Sauron to begin with. With I can't remember what that crown is called.
Morgoth's crown.
Yes, with Morgoth's
Morgoth
crown.
is the predecessor to Sauron. He's the Valar, basically, equivalent of, like if Sauron is something like Beelzebub, Morgoth is Lucifer.
Right.
Got it.
He's actually Satan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. Adar also tells Galadriel that he is aware, or he questions because he was curious if Halbrand was Sauron. She confirms that is true and tells her to put her pride aside so that they can destroy their enemy. And then he kind of asks her, is your king gonna allow the orcs after that to return home? And I'm like, man, if you don't get the fuck out of here, you better fight your way in and out. You know what's about to happen, pimp. What you talking about?
I honestly, I don't even know if we need Galadriel in this.
No, I don't think so. I think actually this entire season has proven that she is not necessary.
I kind of agree with you, to be honest. And I'm not saying that for any particular reason, but like she's at this point in the story, she's very inconsequential.
At this point in the story, she just seems like Sauron's ex who's stalking him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree.
And she created a group chat with one of his other exes. That's about it.
That's what's happening.
Yeah. Let's see. Numenor. Oh, Farazan offers Elendil to bow and swear fealty to him to save his life, and he refuses. He also calls Farazan a traitor in front of everyone, in which he now must be fed to the sea worm. And just to wrap that story up, because it's not too much to it, and when he gets down and they're about to send him off to the sea worm, Miriel not only came to see him in prison and tried to tell him to bend the knee, he said no, and then she came and put herself up because she knows the law, because it's her laws, excuse me, and she decided it was going to be her instead of him that goes to the sea worm, and the sea worm takes her down into the sea, wraps her up, looks her dead in the eyeballs, in which she cannot return the favor, and then spits her back out.
Maybe that's why he was like, I don't know. I can't see anything behind those eyes.
Right. Listen, I say that the best thing that could be is that she was blind, and I this was
Maybe.
collaborated in my household. Her
Mm,
being blind, she didn't freak out.
That's true.
Ellendale would
That's
have
true.
pissed his pants, chunked two deuces, and been screaming for bloody murder. She, on the
All
other
the
hand,
truth.
Yeah.
just tapped into her mermaid gills and sat down there the whole time, staring back unknowingly.
Oh yeah, it's
And
a
I
good
think
thing
that
she held her
intrigued me.
breath.
It's a great thing she held her breath
Well,
for
so I think
3 hours.
to go back to your point when you mentioned in the beginning of the episode, they're definitely setting up the romance between Muriel and Elendil.
Oh, for sure. She touched his chest a couple times. He looked down like, then
Which is
touched her face.
I guess how Isildur becomes king of Numenor. I guess he
That
just
makes sense.
inherits it from them,
Damn, that
maybe.
does make sense, huh?
Yeah. I think that that's probably how they're going to play that.
But there's a
I don't
drastic age difference
remember.
between her and Ellendale, isn't it?
I honestly, I really don't. I'd never read the appendices about Numenor, so I really can't say how the bloodline happens. But I think for the show's purposes, they're trying to put them together so that obviously Isildur becomes king of Numenor at some point.
I mean, Isildur was over there trying to get married to a wild woman.
Yes, yes, he was. He's
I
kind of
wouldn't
like
say
Jon
get
Snow, isn't he?
married, but he was trying to get some cheeks for sure.
Yeah,
Isildur
but
is
in
just
those
Jon
days.
Snow. What the hell?
So what you're saying is they're gonna find out that the chick that he was trying to talk to is his auntie.
Yeah, yeah. And then as soon as he tries to slice Sauron's hand off, Arya Stark is going to jump in and slice it in before
Then who
him.
did we say was gonna be Arya Stark? Who did we say was creeping through? Like I forgot
Oh,
already.
Don Lemonless. Don
Yeah, Don
Lemonless.
Limitless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
damn, Aaron
he'll
Deere.
jump out of nowhere and save the day.
And Theo's gonna go and get the oh well they can't use that. They use that to open Mordor again. So that's not that weapon doesn't
Theo's
exist anymore.
done. Theo's done. We're done with him. He's
I
never
hope
coming
so.
back. I'm glad. Yeah.
I don't like Theo, but I love talking shit about Theo.
He's a terrible character. I think that was the last we're going to see of him. I don't think that he needs to be added to the story anymore. So
Yeah, that's a fair point. Let's see. So Nori is telling the leader of the what are they called again?
the Stores.
The stores that they should
Yeah.
run, and they're like, nah, this isn't just our home. It's our it's
It's
our
our home.
yeah, it's our home. It's not just where we live, it's our home. And I was like, what kind of stupid
Yeah.
shit? As we already covered, Poppy
Again,
kisses
it
nobody or
goes back
Merriman.
to those writers I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're right. You know we agree with you about the writers. That's not even a question.
You know what it
Um,
is? It's that Tolkien was very flowery in his language, but he did it in a way that was great because he was a philologist, which is a studier of language. So he was
mm,
quite good with words. What these writers are trying to do is create a facsimile of Tolkien's style of creating dialogue, and they just
Fail.
can't do it because, yeah, well, because they don't understand language the way Tolkien did.
Right.
they're
I mean,
linguistically
Tolkien
challenged.
literally, Tolkien created like 4 different languages just for the Lord of the Rings.
Damn, that's
Right.
crazy.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, these
That's
people are
absolutely
definitely
crazy.
punching above their weight class. That's for sure.
That's a whole statement right there. That's a bar,
Right.
in case you don't know. Let's see. Oh yeah. So the Isitar or the stranger has visions, and Tom lets him know that the fire speaks to those who are willing to listen. Um, and then Tom takes him to find his staff in a big ass cavern in the middle of the mountain, and tells him that it's either your friend or your destiny. You choose, but you won't get this opportunity twice. And then he dips off on him like a
Yep.
ghost in the night. I thought that was
Never to
actually
be
kind of
seen
hardcore
again. Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
was like, I don't think we're gonna see any more Bombadil. I think that's it.
Nope. And I think that's it. You're probably not going to get him back again. And they mentioned the secret fire, which is another Gandalf red herring Easter egg, I think, because when Gandalf is fighting the Balrog in Lord of the Rings, he says, I'm the keeper of the secret fire. You shall not pass," or whatever.
You shall
Um,
not pass.
But I think the secret fire is just that sort of like intuitive spirit that helps people like Eastar, you know, um, see into the future, or maybe with some of their psychic abilities or whatever.
Hmm. Okay. Never would have thought about it that way. At least I wouldn't have. But I could, again, things I don't know. Let's see. Anatar and Celebrimbor are denied by King Durin when they request more Mithril, but not because the king hasn't lost his way, but because he's lost his way so much that he intends on blackmailing them into begging for more and giving him more in return.
Yeah, wait till they're desperate.
Right. Um, Durin and Disa have a discussion, and then they help. She helps him run off miners by sonaring some bats as a weapon. I thought that was actually pretty cool. What else? Oh, Farazan is also, as you said earlier, using the Palantir. These are kind of things we already kind of glossed over as we've been talking so far.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Did we really? I think we pretty much covered every. Oh, Adar and Galadriel, they have a discussion about Aragon and its future and what's going on with the army. And then Galadriel is shown that he doesn't just have a battalion, he has an entire army. And she puts two and two together and realizes this is what Sauron's wanted the whole time because he doesn't have an army of his own. So you have to
Yeah.
start a war and you have to attack this city. It's kind of the center of Elvendom. So the moment you attack, now you're the bad guy, and you guys are fighting for Sauron, whether you realize it or not.
Yep.
And fair enough, she's actually right. But she and Adar are both taking their part in Sauron's plans. And even though they had this wonderful discussion about how they both understand that he got in their brain, they're both still carrying out exactly what
Yeah.
he set in place.
I know. I
Keelan,
know.
what you didn't realize is she's always right.
Oh yeah, that is true.
She's always right.
Okay.
She hasn't made a mistake once.
Not yet. Not
I have
yet.
to say that.
Especially when she didn't tell everybody that Sauron was that dude.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a question that I think one of you or both of you have an answer to. When the siege was beginning and Sauron cut him his hand, what was that about?
He cut his hand.
Yeah,
Yeah, he took the
he
dagger and cut his
he
hand.
did some bloodletting. I
Oh,
don't know. I
what
don't
did
have
he
an
put
answer
the
for
blood
that.
to?
Because I was thinking that was just a form of magic, like you said, some bloodletting. And I'm thinking that's how when Celebrimbor pushed him into the wall, which I thought was actually like, oh, Celebrimbor got a spine. When he did shove him and he went outside because he wanted to see what was going on, I was thinking the reason that he was able to cast that spell or that vision over the entire town is because he spread his blood around in different places. So now he has more control over the environment.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't know the intricacies of Sauron's abilities, to be honest. But casting illusory spells is definitely a new one. At least that I know. And of course, I am not read into the appendices, or again, I've said before, I've tried to get to the Silmarillion like 5 times, and I've only read it halfway through. So it's quite possible that he has illusory powers, but yeah,
I mean,
I don't.
he is
Huh?
if he's Satan's allegory or whatever, he's
Yeah,
definitely the deceiver and
yeah,
deception. So
mhm.
illusions wouldn't be that far from
That's
it
true.
wouldn't be
Yeah,
that
that's
big
fair.
of a leap.
Right,
Yeah, that's fair.
right. Yeah,
Well,
very true.
so as we already know, Eregion is under attack. Although Celebrimbor doesn't see it, we are well aware of it. Um, Anatar gives Celebrimbor a new hammer, a jar full of mithril that came out of nowhere. I'm assuming he salvaged what he could from the remaining pieces. And as he goes inside, we get a circle pan angle around Anatar, and then we are back to reality, and we see everyone scurrying, going on about their fears and trying to get out of the way because they see the war that's coming, and they are not fighters, they are not warriors. These are just townsfolk. And then we see the orcs loading in their catapults and firing about 6 of them bad boys directly at the city walls.
Yep.
And
And
that's
thus
pretty
the
much the next
sacking of
episode.
Eregion begins.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
And
So
that's it.
so all elves aren't warriors?
no, not at all.
No, those are artisans.
So all elves aren't warriors? I say
No,
again.
just
Well,
Galadriel saves them all
just
by herself.
Galadriel. Yeah. Oh
I mean,
boy.
even the king ain't picked up a sword this whole damn series. And he's
No,
supposed to be that dude.
I don't. I
Yeah.
don't. I don't see him picking up a sword and being like, "Let's go kill stuff." More like, "Ew, it's sharp."
I was just about to say that.
I know, which is weird because I think Gil-galad and Elendil both 2v1 on Sauron at some
Right.
point. So
Pause.
I don't. Yeah. Well, no diddy. Um.
My bad.
You
I'm
should have
sorry.
said that.
Yeah.
But no, I understand because
Man.
you actually alluded to that last episode, and that's
Yeah.
something I'm not aware of. So,
Spit roast.
Gross. All right.
wow.
Anything else, Jones?
No, honestly, I think that's the part that makes the ending to episodes 5 and 6, and maybe the endings to some of the other episodes were this way, but I didn't feel this way. The endings of both of these episodes really made me like, this is why I don't usually watch things as they drop and I wait until like a whole season's out because I hate being
Right.
left in suspense,
Yeah, I
especially
don't like
nonsensical
cliffhangers.
suspense.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
I hate cliffhanger episodes. I think that they're kind of I mean, sometimes they're necessary for a story, but I feel like they're almost a lot of the time they're just bait to get you
Mhm.
watching next week. So,
Right,
um
right.
all right.
And by
Well,
next week, I might forget what the hell's going on and not care no more.
yeah, exactly. But at least you'll have this episode to reference, so you'll remember
Hey,
forever.
yes, indeed.
Yep. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We hope that you enjoyed this episode's discussion about the Rings of Power, episode 5 and 6. We will be back next week when episode 7 drops. We only got 2 more episodes, guys. So gear up. And, if you're new to the channel, go and check out all of the other episodes that we've done about this and go through our catalog. We've reviewed quite a many movie. And though 2024 has been sort of light in the reviews, go back to 2023 and 2022, and you'll get some really good episodes where we just reviewed the worst movies you could ever think of. And it's a lot of fun. Great discussions there in. Thank you again for tuning in. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. And leave a comment if you'd like. Let us know if you'd want us to review anything in particular. We'll always take that into consideration. And we should be back we'll be back Sunday, probably Sunday night, because we have a Indian movie, an Indian sci-fi movie that we have to review. And it's called Kalki 2989. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. That we watched like a week ago. So we're going to talk about that on Sunday. So if you want to go check that out, it's on Netflix. You can go check it out. It's Kalki 2989. It is a Indian sci-fi flick. And if you want to hear about what we thought about it, tune in on Sunday night. We'll be back then, 8:30 p.m. And until next time, for Screen Time Continuum, I am Nick.
I am Keelan.
And I'm Mike.
And that
Sorry.
was a delay.
My bad.
All good.
It's cool.
Region. I just had to say it.
Fuck.